In the boundless and enigmatic realm of Greek mythology, a world where gods, heroes, and monsters collide in epic sagas of glory and despair, there exists a creature whose name has echoed through the annals of time, stirring fear and awe in equal measure. This creature, known as the Chimera, stands as a testament to the ancient imagination's ability to conceive of horrors so profound that they resonate with the very core of our primal fears. The Chimera, a nightmarish amalgamation of beastly forms, was a symbol of chaos, a living embodiment of destruction that transcended the boundaries of the natural world. This terrifying entity, with the body of a lion, a goat's head rising ominously from its back, and a serpent's tail coiled with lethal intent, became a legend among legends. It was a creature feared by mortals and gods alike. Its name whispered in hushed tones, a specter that haunted the dreams of all who knew its tale. The story of the Chimera is one of birth, terror, and the unyielding courage of a hero who dared to challenge the forces of darkness itself. The genesis of the Chimera is rooted in a tale as ancient as the gods themselves, a story that begins with the union of two of the most formidable beings in all of Greek mythology, Typhon and Echidna. Typhon, a colossal giant whose 100 serpent heads breathed fire and brimstone, was the very essence of destruction. He was a force of nature, a creature so powerful that even the Olympian gods trembled before him. His wife, Echidna, was equally fearsome. Known as the mother of monsters, Echidna was a half-woman, half-serpent being who gave birth to some of the most dreaded creatures in myth. Among her offspring were the three-headed dog Cerberus, the multi-headed Hydra, and, of course, the Chimera. This union of terror and chaos gave birth to a creature that would become synonymous with destruction, a beast that would forever be etched into the collective memory of mankind. The birth of the Chimera was not an ordinary event. It was an omen, a sign of the tumultuous times that were to come. From the moment it drew its first breath, the Chimera was recognized as a creature of unparalleled power and malevolence. Its lion's body, representing raw strength and predatory instinct, was a symbol of its dominant nature. But this was no ordinary lion, for from its back rose a second head, that of a goat, symbolizing a stubborn persistence and an insatiable appetite for destruction. The tail of the Chimera was not merely a tail but a living serpent, coiled and ready to strike with venomous precision, ensuring that no foe could approach unscathed. This monstrous fusion of animals was not just a threat to physical beings, it was a manifestation of chaos itself, a creature that defied the natural order and brought with it a reign of terror that would be remembered for centuries. The legends that surround the Chimera's birth are filled with dark portents and ominous signs. It is said that the very earth trembled when the Chimera emerged into the world, and the sky darkened as if mourning the catastrophe that was to follow. In some versions of the myth, the gods themselves foresaw the havoc this creature would wreak, yet they were powerless to prevent its existence. Bound by the ancient laws of fate, they could do nothing but watch as the Chimera took its place in the world, destined to spread fear and destruction wherever it roamed. The Chimera was not merely a creature, it was a force of nature, a living embodiment of chaos that could not be tamed or reasoned with. As the Chimera grew, so too did its power and its reputation. It was no mere beast, but a being infused with a primal magic that made it nearly invincible. The lion's head could roar with such ferocity that it shattered the air itself, while the goat's head possessed the ability to spew flames, incinerating everything in its path. The serpent tail, ever vigilant, could strike with lightning speed, delivering a venomous bite that was fatal to any who dared approach. The chimera was more than just a physical threat. It was a symbol of untamed chaos, a creature that defied the natural order and brought with it a sense of dread that was palpable. The myths that describe the chimera's power often speak of it as an unstoppable force, a creature that could not be defeated by ordinary means. The reign of the chimera began in the ancient region of Lycia, a land that was once peaceful and prosperous. Located in what is now modern-day Turkey, Lycia was a region known for its fertile fields, thriving towns, and a people who lived in harmony with their gods. But all of this changed when the chimera descended upon them. Emerging from the mountains like a storm, the chimera laid waste to everything in its path. Fields that once provided bountiful harvests were scorched to barren ash by the creature's fiery breath. Towns and villages full of life and laughter were reduced to smoldering ruins, their inhabitants either fleeing in terror or perishing in the flames. The people of Lycia were gripped by a terror unlike anything they had ever known. They had heard tales of monsters and gods, but nothing could have prepared them for the living nightmare that was the chimera. In desperation, they turned to their priests and seers, seeking guidance from the gods. Sacrifices were made, prayers were offered, but the gods remained silent. The chimera was a creature born of divine chaos, and it seemed that even the gods could not or would not intervene. As the chimera's rampage continued, the once prosperous region of Lycia was transformed into a desolate wasteland. Crops failed, rivers dried up, and the sky was perpetually filled with the smoke of burning towns. The people despaired, their hope dwindling with each passing day. Some fled to distant lands, hoping to escape the creature's wrath, while others barricaded themselves in the ruins of their homes, praying for a miracle. The chimera had become a symbol of unstoppable destruction, a force that could not be reasoned with or appeased. It was in this darkest hour that the hero Bellerophon appeared. A prince of Corinth, Bellerophon was known for his strength, courage, and intelligence, but like many heroes in Greek mythology, his life was marked by tragedy and exile. After accidentally killing his brother, Bellerophon was forced to flee his homeland, seeking refuge in the court of King Proetus of Tiryns. It was there that his journey to confront the chimera began, though it was not a path he chose willingly. Bellerophon's troubles began when he caught the eye of King Proetus's wife, Stheneboea, who fell in love with the handsome hero. When Bellerophon rejected her advances, Stheneboea accused him of attempting to seduce her. Furious and unable to directly punish his guest, Proetus sent Bellerophon to his father-in-law, King Iobates of Lycia, with a sealed letter. Unbeknownst to Bellerophon, the letter contained a message requesting Iobates to kill the bearer of the letter, for Proetus could not do so himself due to the laws of hospitality. Upon receiving the letter, Iobates faced a dilemma. Killing a guest, even one delivered under such circumstances, was a grave offense. So instead, he decided to send Bellerophon on an impossible mission, to defeat the chimera. Iobates believed that this task would surely result in the hero's death, solving his problem without directly violating the sacred laws. Bellerophon, however, was not a man to be easily deterred. Though he knew the dangers he faced, he accepted the challenge with a determination that surprised even himself. Before setting out, Bellerophon sought the advice of the wise seer Polyidus, who advised him to seek the help of the gods. Bellerophon prayed to the goddess Athena, who appeared to him in a dream and presented him with a golden bridle. Athena instructed him to tame the winged horse Pegasus, who alone could give him the speed and agility needed to confront the Chimera. The next day, Bellerophon journeyed to the spring of Pyrene, where Pegasus often came to drink. Using the golden bridle, he was able to tame the magnificent creature, earning its trust. With Pegasus as his steed, Bellerophon felt a surge of confidence. He knew that this was no ordinary horse. Pegasus was a divine being, born of the blood of the Gorgon Medusa, and its wings could carry him above the reach of the Chimera's deadly attacks. As Bellerophon flew towards Lycia, the landscape below him bore the scars of the Chimera's wrath. He saw villages reduced to ashes, fields blackened and lifeless, and the once thriving land of Lycia now desolate and empty. The sight filled him with a steely resolve. He knew that defeating the Chimera was not just about his own survival. It was about saving the people of Lycia from a fate worse than death. When Bellerophon finally faced the Chimera, it was a battle unlike any other. The creature, sensing the hero's approach, let out a roar that shook the mountains. Its lion's head snapped at Pegasus as they circled overhead, while the goat's head spewed fire into the sky, trying to scorch the hero from above. The serpent tail lashed out, attempting to strike the horse from below. Bellerophon, however, remained calm and focused. He knew that the key to victory lay not in brute strength, but in strategy and precision. Bellerophon used the height and speed of Pegasus to stay out of reach of the Chimera's deadly attacks. As they circled the beast, he noticed that the creature's goat head, which was spewing flames, was also its most vulnerable spot. With a well-aimed thrust of his spear, Bellerophon drove the weapon into the Chimera's fiery throat. The beast let out a final, earth-shattering roar before collapsing to the ground, its flames extinguished forever. The people of Lycia, who had watched the battle from a distance, erupted in cheers as the Chimera fell. Bellerophon had done what they believed was impossible. He had slain the monster that had terrorized them for so long. In that moment, Bellerophon became more than just a hero. He became a legend. The battle between Bellerophon and the Chimera was a clash of epic proportions, a confrontation between a mortal hero and a creature born of the darkest depths of chaos. As Bellerophon soared above the charred landscape of Lycia on the back of Pegasus, the sun glinting off his polished armor, he knew that this would be the ultimate test of his courage, skill, and ingenuity. The Chimera was not just any monster. It was a creature of legend, a beast that defied the natural order, combining the most dangerous attributes of multiple animals into a single, terrifying form. The Chimera awaited Bellerophon in a desolate valley, a place that had once been fertile and green, but was now a scorched wasteland, a testament to the creature's destructive power. The ground was littered with the remnants of its previous victims, charred bones, blackened earth, and the twisted remains of what had once been thriving villages. The air was thick with the acrid smell of sulfur, and the sky above was darkened by the smoke that still rose from the Chimera's fiery breath. As Bellerophon approached, he could see the Chimera in all its fearsome glory. The lion's head, with its mane of fire, roared a challenge that echoed across the valley. The goat's head, rising from the creature's back, glared at the approaching hero with malevolent eyes, while the serpent tail hissed and writhed, ready to strike at any moment. The beast's body, a grotesque amalgamation of lion and goat, was massive, its muscles rippling with power, its claws digging into the earth with every step. Bellerophon knew that a direct confrontation with the Chimera would be suicidal. The creature was far too powerful, its breath too fiery, its claws too sharp for any ordinary attack to succeed. Instead, he relied on the agility and speed of Pegasus, circling the beast from above, studying its movements, looking for any sign of weakness. Pegasus, with its wings outstretched, danced through the air with effortless grace, easily evading the fiery blasts that the Chimera hurled skyward. The Chimera, frustrated by its inability to reach its airborne adversary, grew more enraged with every passing moment. The lion's head roared in fury, unleashing torrents of flame that scorched the sky, while the goat's head let out a bleating cry that was both eerie and unsettling. The serpent tail lashed out wildly, striking at the air in a vain attempt to bring down the flying horse. But Bellerophon remained calm, his mind focused on the task at hand. He knew that the key to defeating the Chimera lay in outsmarting it, in finding a way to strike at its most vulnerable point. As Bellerophon continued to circle the Chimera, he noticed something peculiar about the beast's behavior. While the lion's head and serpent tail were aggressive and constantly on the attack, the goat's head seemed almost passive by comparison, reacting only when the other two heads were threatened. Bellerophon realized that the goat's head, which was responsible for the creature's fiery breath, might be the Chimera's Achilles' heel. If he could somehow neutralize the goat's head, he could weaken the creature significantly, making it easier to defeat. With this in mind, Bellerophon devised a daring plan. He would use the height advantage of Pegasus to dive down and strike at the goat's head, delivering a fatal blow before the Chimera could react. But to do this, he would need to approach the beast at just the right angle, avoiding the lion's flames and the serpent's venomous bite. It was a risky move, one that required precise timing and nerves of steel. But Bellerophon knew that it was his best chance of victory. Gathering his courage, Bellerophon guided Pegasus into a steep dive, aiming directly at the Chimera's goat head. The creature, sensing the impending attack, let out a deafening roar, its three heads snapping in different directions as it tried to track the hero's movements. Flames erupted from the lion's mouth, scorching the air around Bellerophon. But Pegasus, with a burst of speed, darted through the inferno, its wings singed but unscathed. As Bellerophon closed in on the Chimera, he drew his spear, the tip gleaming in the dim light. With a final burst of speed, he plunged the spear deep into the goat's throat, piercing its very core. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. The goat's head let out a strangled cry as flames sputtered and died in its throat. The Chimera staggered, its body convulsing as the life force that had driven its fiery breath began to fade. But the battle was not over yet. The Chimera, though gravely wounded, was still a formidable opponent. The lion's head, now driven to madness by the pain, roared with renewed fury, flames flickering weakly from its mouth. The serpent tail, sensing its master's vulnerability, lashed out with terrifying speed, aiming to strike Bellerophon from the sky. But the hero, ever vigilant, was ready. As the serpent lunged, Bellerophon twisted in his saddle, slicing through the serpent's neck with a single powerful stroke of his sword. The headless serpent thrashed violently before finally collapsing to the ground, its body twitching in its death throes. With the serpent tail defeated and the goat's head silenced, the Chimera was left with only the lion's head to defend itself. But the creature was now severely weakened, its once mighty flames reduced to flickering embers. Bellerophon knew that the time had come to deliver the final blow. He circled above the Chimera one last time, then descended swiftly, driving his sword deep into the lion's heart. The Chimera let out one final, pitiful roar before collapsing to the ground, its massive body finally still. The death of the Chimera marked the end of its reign of terror over Lycia. As the creature lay defeated, its once fearsome form now lifeless, the valley that had been its lair was silent, save for the sound of the wind rustling through the scorched trees. Bellerophon dismounted from Pegasus, standing over the fallen beast, his heart pounding with the realization of what he had accomplished. He had defeated a creature that had been deemed invincible, a monster born of chaos and destruction, and in doing so, he had saved countless lives. The people of Lycia, who had watched the battle from a safe distance, were overwhelmed with relief and joy. They rushed to the valley, surrounding Bellerophon with cries of gratitude and praise. They hailed him as a savior, a hero whose courage and skill had delivered them from the brink of annihilation. Bellerophon, ever humble, accepted their thanks with grace, though in his heart he knew that the victory had come at a great cost. The Chimera was defeated, but the land of Lycia bore the scars of its rampage, and it would take many years for the region to recover. In the aftermath of the Chimera's defeat, Bellerophon returned to King Iobates, who had sent him on the perilous mission in the hopes that he would never return. But now, seeing the hero before him, alive and victorious, Iobates was filled with awe and respect. He realized that Bellerophon was not just any mortal, he was favored by the gods, a hero destined for greatness. Iobates welcomed Bellerophon with open arms, treating him as an honored guest and even offering him the hand of his daughter in marriage. Bellerophon's victory over the Chimera secured his place in the annals of Greek mythology, but it also marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one that was fraught with both triumph and tragedy. Though he had slain the Chimera, Bellerophon's story did not end there. He continued to perform great deeds, defeating other monsters and earning the admiration of all who knew him. However, like many heroes of Greek myth, Bellerophon's success eventually led to his downfall. The legacy of the Chimera and its defeat by Bellerophon is a complex one. On the one hand, the Chimera became a symbol of chaos and destruction, a reminder of the dangers that lurk in the dark corners of the world. The creature's terrifying form, with its multiple heads and fearsome powers, represented the unpredictability of life and the ever-present threat of disaster. For the people of Lycia, the Chimera was a nightmare made flesh, a beast that embodied their deepest fears. On the other hand, the story of Bellerophon's victory over the Chimera is a testament to the power of courage, intelligence, and perseverance. Bellerophon, through his skill and determination, was able to overcome an enemy that seemed insurmountable. His defeat of the Chimera was not just a physical triumph, but a moral one as well. It showed that even in the face of overwhelming odds, a hero could prevail through a combination of bravery, wisdom, and resourcefulness. Bellerophon's triumph over the Chimera was not merely a victory over a monstrous beast. It was a victory over the forces of chaos and destruction that threatened to unravel the very fabric of the world. The story of his conquest became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even the darkest and most terrifying forces could be overcome by the light of courage and the strength of resolve. Yet, as with many tales of heroism in Greek mythology, Bellerophon's story is also a poignant reflection on the nature of human ambition and the perilous line between confidence and hubris. Flush with the success of his battle against the Chimera, Bellerophon began to believe that he was invincible, that there were no challenges too great for him to overcome. He saw himself not merely as a hero, but as a being who could stand on equal footing with the gods themselves. This growing arrogance would prove to be his undoing, for in Greek mythology, the gods were quick to punish mortals who dared to overstep their bounds. After his victory in Lycia, Bellerophon's fame spread far and wide. He continued to perform heroic deeds, slaying other monstrous creatures and embarking on quests that brought him even more glory. The people revered him as a demigod, and his exploits were celebrated in song and story throughout the ancient world. But Bellerophon's growing pride led him to a fateful decision. He would attempt to ascend to Mount Olympus, the home of the gods, to claim his place among them as their equal. This act of hubris was an affront to the gods, who saw it as a direct challenge to their authority. Zeus, the king of the gods, was particularly angered by Bellerophon's audacity. To punish the hero, Zeus sent a gadfly to sting Pegasus, causing the winged horse to buck wildly and throw Bellerophon from its back. The fall was long and terrible, and Bellerophon, once the pride of mortals, was cast down to earth, broken and crippled. The hero who had once soared to the heights of glory was now a ruined man, wandering the earth in misery and disgrace, shunned by the very people who had once revered him. Bellerophon's tragic end serves as a powerful reminder of the dangers of hubris and the importance of humility. It underscores the belief that no matter how great one's achievements, mortals must always remember their place in the cosmic order. The gods, in Greek mythology, were not just distant deities, but active forces in the lives of mortals, and they demanded respect and reverence. Those who forgot this lesson, like Bellerophon, were doomed to suffer the consequences of their pride. The legacy of the Chimera, therefore, is twofold. On one hand, it represents the chaos and destruction that lurks in the world, the monstrous forces that heroes must face and overcome. On the other hand, it serves as a symbol of the trials that test not just physical strength, but also moral character. The Chimera's defeat by Bellerophon was a triumph of good over evil, but it also set the stage for a deeper reflection on the nature of heroism and the perils of human ambition. The story of the Chimera and Bellerophon has continued to resonate through the ages. Its themes of courage, hubris, and the struggle against chaos, finding echoes in countless other myths, stories, and even modern narratives. The Chimera itself, with its grotesque and terrifying form, has become a symbol of the hybrid and the unnatural, used in various cultural and scientific contexts to represent things that defy easy categorization. In biology, the term chimera is used to describe organisms that contain cells from different genetic origins, reflecting the mythical creature's composition of disparate parts. In literature and psychology, the chimera often symbolizes inner conflicts or unattainable ideals, representing the complexities of the human condition. Moreover, the tale of Bellerophon's rise and fall is a story that continues to inspire and caution. It reminds us that greatness is often accompanied by temptation, the temptation to see oneself as more than human, to believe that success makes one invulnerable. Bellerophon's story is a testament to the enduring power of myth to capture the full range of human experience, from the heights of glory to the depths of despair. In modern times, the Chimera and the tale of Bellerophon have been reinterpreted and retold in various ways, from literature and art to film and video games. These retellings often emphasize different aspects of the story, but they all return to the central themes of the original myth: the battle between order and chaos, the nature of heroism, and the dangers of overreaching one's limits. The Chimera, in its various forms, continues to serve as a potent symbol of the challenges that life presents. while Bellerophon's journey remains a powerful example of the triumphs and tragedies that come with striving to achieve greatness. In the end, the story of the Chimera and Bellerophon is more than just a tale of a hero and a monster. It is a rich and complex narrative that explores the fundamental questions of what it means to be human, the nature of power and ambition, and the delicate balance between courage and humility. It is a story that has been passed down through the ages, not just as a piece of ancient lore, but as a timeless reflection on the human condition. And as long as there are challenges to be faced and boundaries to be tested, the tale of the Chimera and Bellerophon will continue to be told, reminding us of the enduring power of myth to illuminate the deepest truths of our existence.